Yo, this is WSoul13 bringing you Raid Shadow Legends, and today we're gonna be doing our Helicath comp for F2P low spenders. Oh, let's put my face over here. All right, so we're gonna start right in the middle of it, right? So hopefully you guys enjoy this little show. One of the reasons why I'm doing this, starting from the exact middle of it, is because I don't like to edit. So this way you get to see if it is capable of a 4 key. It looks like it's very capable of a 4 key here. So I wanted to run two experiments. One is with basically anybody. Valerie plus anybody, and then the other one was gonna be with one of your guys in Toxic Set. So I did dress up one of my dudes in Toxic Set. I picked Grush to do that, but it looks like we don't really need it. It looks like we're gonna hit the 4 key here. I don't know about the 3 key. So the 4 key, I think, is how much do we need for the 4 key? 18 million, right? And then for the 3 key, we're looking for, is it 23.5 million? 23.5 million for the 3 key, something like that, or 24 million for the 3 key. So I think the 3 key is a little bit out of reach here with this particular comp. So maybe we'll do someone with a Toxic Set on the next one, just to see if we can hit that that 3 key with putting somebody in a Toxic Set, right? So what's the reality here? Why is Helicath so freaking good? So Helicath is amazing because he gives you unkillable. That's it. By himself. So literally you don't need to be lucky with any other champ other than Helicath, right? So once you have Helicath and you can pair him up with a Valerie, like I'm showing you right now, right? So what am I gonna call this comp? Valicath? I think that sounds pretty good. Valicath. Catholcree, Catholicry, Valkyrie, Helcary, Batman, I guess I'm trying to think about if the unkillable comps are all named after, with their unkillable champ being the front of the name, but I think Batman is, or Bat Eater, that's like they have the Man Eater at the second part of the name. So maybe we can call this Valicath. What do you guys think? Valicath. Does that sound pretty good? All right. So what is the main advantages of Valicath, right, versus any other Helicath comp that's been out there? So, like, Helicath is a thing, and everybody already knows how to use Helicath. I mean, this isn't a new comp per se, because I'm just using the slow Helicath speed tune by Deadwood Jedi. So if you want like the super specifics of this build, definitely go to deadwoodjedi.com, look up that slow Helicath build. This is it. I think he has like a premium version where he has a more detailed breakdown of it. I'm not sure exactly about that, but why exactly does this comp work, right? So this is anybody can be the stun target comp, right? But there is a little bit of a caveat there with the anybody can be the stun target. So I'm not going to prescribe a specific turn order, right? But I will if you can get Helicath to take the stun. So this particular build is flexible enough that anybody can take the stun, but it's not affinity friendly. So unfortunately, it's not affinity friendly and it's not full auto, right? So to become affinity friendly and to become full auto, we need a couple of things. The first thing we need to become full auto is a block debuff champ. So once we have the block debuff champ, the setup is pretty simple. You're going to have Valerie open with her A1, and you are going to take away her shield ability, which I think is the A3. You're just going to turn that off, and that should be good. And then Helicath, you're going to have him prioritize his block damage first, and then he's going to do the shields right after. So another quirk about this particular version of the build is that Helicath is not fully booked. So in this version of the build, Helicath, the only thing that's fully booked with him is the cooldowns on the unkillable. So obviously, there's a little bit of interplay here in terms of how you can make this build work. In my opinion, it doesn't really matter because there are some things you can do, which it's going to sound weird, but you could probably do it with like another. It sounds weird, but you can probably keep this, but it won't be affinity friendly still. But you can probably do it with like another Valkyrie. If you have his shields going off at like random times, you can have the Valkyries kind of like going off also at staggered times, so you could catch that shield and extend it. So that will just be up to you, and if you can observe your runs, figure out where it's gonna go. So it's extremely close to a 3-key, man. I'm actually really impressed by this. So, wow. This is actually really good. I am like really stoked that this thing is able to get really, really close to a 3-key, yo. That's amazing. So we're gonna break down the speeds right now, and then we're gonna break down the comp itself. And the little things you can do, I think, to consistently hit the 3-key here. So I'm gonna say this is a 3-key, because I'm going to show you a way exactly to hit the 3-key here. But this is a 3-key right here, and I am going to screen cap. Maybe this. Can you see me? Yeah, okay, good. All right. So, yeah. That's pretty sick, right? So let's take a look at how much damage we did. Oh, I took my S-pen out. No. Okay. All right. So let's see. So against Ultra Nightmare, it's very close to 3-key. Very, very close to 3-key. I'm actually real proud of this. So you can do an easy 3-key with Kale, random DPSers, So Coffin Smasher is actually not a bad damage dealer. As you can see right there, he did 5 million. War Maiden, I actually had her A2 turned off so she can proc those poisons more often. And then finally, Valerie is just on shield set. So this will really depend which part of the game you are, right? So if you're a really early game player, this is probably going to be a 4-key. So the later you are in the game, the more likely you can actually scale this comp all the way up to a 3-key, which is insane, right? So literally, Coffin Smasher could be anybody. So Coffin Smasher is the kind of like the anybody spot. So whichever clan boss damage dealer you get, you are going to get one at some point, right? Even if you're just going to do my prescribed raid style, which is just play through the events, use free champs, diamond handle shards, bro. You got Helicath, like maybe you got him at day 50, That's insane, yo. This is crazy. Because you get the 4-key that early into your account, you're just going to stack so many shards. Like if you just do your clan boss chest every day and you get that 4-key in, then you can slowly work it into a 3-key. All right, so let's break down exactly why this comp is so powerful for F2P low spenders because, there have been many, very many Helicath comps done. This one needs 0 luck. So this is like the 0 luck version of the Helicath comp, with the caveat of it won't work against Spirit Affinity, unfortunately. So you're just going to have to get up, get your keys in with your Helicath, and then you're going to have to see. Right? So you're going to get your 2 keys in with Void Affinity, and then you're going to have to wait and see, because you're going to have to wait, another 12 hours to do your next 2 keys? You're going to have to wait and see. So if you unfortunately pull, if unfortunately you end up pulling the bad part of that matchup, which is Spirit Affinity, you're just going to have to do Nightmare Clan Boss that day, and you're just going to get some bad Ultra Nightmare chess that day until you get the block debuff champ. So once you have the block debuff champ, it's basically the slow Helicath build. There's already been a video on that, so I'm not going to talk about how to build that build, because that's like, this is actually stupid is easy to build because it's based on that comp, and that comp is also stupid easy to build. So let's take a look at Helicath exactly, right? So if you can get Helicath to take the stun, so this particular build, I like Helicath taking the stun there because I can get Valerie to take the stun off, right? So it doesn't matter. There's 2 spots in this build, all right? So the slow Helicath build has 3 roles, all right, other than damage. So there's your unkillable on a 4-turn cooldown, like 2-turn duration unkillable, 4-turn cooldown. So that's Helicath, right? The next one is Cleanser, right? This is for the slow build. And then you have your AoE block debuff, which will last for 1 turn, right? So the Cleanser will take, supposedly, the Cleanser will take the stun off, and then the block debuff will keep you affinity friendly for Spirit Affinity. Now, if you take the block debuff away, you lose the affinity friendliness. So you have like a 67% chance, 66.66666-ish percent chance to get not Spirit Affinity, right? So unfortunately, the speeds are pretty tight, right? So I think on Deadwood Jedi, he has the speed for Helicath 246, 248. There are probably other speeds that can work, but these are like the proven ones. So I don't want to mess around with speeds if I know for sure that there's already been like a proven speed build. 246 to 247, most likely the early game players will need to use all speed sets. So for me, I was able to squeeze in Resilience set, and I think I have 3 pieces of defense percentage. No, I have speed boots on. So. But these speed boots are pretty good, right? So it's a 5-star? 5-star speed boots, but it's got a triple death roll. So, right. So it is a pretty beastly Helicath. So the HP is a little bit high, 43,000. You probably want that lower, but I mean, I'm kind of like end game now, so I get a lot more bonuses. It's a lot easier for me to stack HP in them. And then I think for the amulets and the rings and the banners, you probably want to keep defense on there, right? So 246 to 48 speed, that's the main stat you need. The next stat you need to jack up is defense. I think earlier game players are going to have maybe somewhere between 3,000. I'm going to say it's going to be somewhere between maybe 2,800. Let's say 2,500 is like the lowest you can get, because his base def is really good. It's 1,400 for that base def. So that's really easy to jack up. So I'd say if you get really unlucky with your gloves and your chest and you can't find defense percentage gloves and chest with speed rolls, I mean, most likely you will be able to do that, but even earlier in the game. But let's say you don't, right? And you just slap on whatever speed gear you have on him, you're probably going to end up with like 2500 def. In that case, you know, it's going to be a little bit hairier in terms of like withstanding the stun, because you're expecting your shield to carry you through the stun. So exactly why Helicath worked is because the shield, so mine isn't booked down all the way, like I said. If you can set it up this way, I think it's kind of better because it just makes the shield more predictable, right? So, but if you did book him down all the way, it's also fine as well, because you actually want to get this extra plus 10% shield. That will come into play. But the other part of that is you can play around with it, like just in your build order, just in your turn order, right? When you first start that, you'll figure out a turn order where you can get the shield to cover the stun target, right? So the stun targeting part, all right, this is an extremely long topic. I'm not really going to go super deep into it. Just know that if you're going to use Helicath and you want him to be the stun target, it's perfect because one, he gets his 30% plus def aura, which is great for shields. Great also for taking that stun damage, right? And this shield is based on def. So that's it. More def, more shields, all good, right? So I do like Helicath being the stun target for this particular build of mine. If you can make that happen, great. And then the other one is this definitely needs to be booked down. So this could be as cheap as 2 legendary books, yo. 2 legendary books, you're good to go, right? And then, you know, weaken's fine. All right, so this is the fun part for me because we are going to be using Valerie as our cleanser. So not a lot of people know this about Valerie, and not a lot of people use Valerie for this. But this A2, if you read that very carefully, it says increases the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn. Also decreases the duration of all debuffs on all allies by 1 turn. So actually in my rankings for cleanser, I have Valerie up there as a cleanser, which is weird, right? So a lot of people discount Valerie as a cleanser. I strongly like her as a cleanser because she also brings a buff extension. So buff and debuff manipulation is very, very strong in raid. We all know that, right? So Valerie gives us this chance to extend our buffs, right? But you can also program her to take the stun away if your stun target is Helicath, right? So in my case here, I have my stun target as Helicath, so I'm going to program it that way. Unfortunately, you're going to have to figure out per affinity. So for force, is it force? For force and magic affinity, right? So you're going to need a champ that'll take the stun there. For magic, most likely Helicath will take the stun because he's spirit, perfectly fine. For force, so that's where it gets a little bit tricky, all right? So you may have to manipulate your shield to where it goes off. It's covering your stun target. So that is the possible problem you'll have with force affinity. So, you know, if you can figure that part out, you should be good. Yeah, so what exactly is the speed you need to run Valerie in? So this is where actually you can get a little bit more out of this build. So 186 speed is exactsies, unfortunately. I think it is exactsies for Valerie, right? So you probably, I have speed set on her here. You may want to avoid speed set. It depends, right? So, but she has to be exactly 186 speed. It's kind of hard to do, especially earlier in the game. But if you can get that to happen for your Valerie, it doesn't really matter what set she's on, right? So this shield set, I'm going to explain right now the reason why she's on shield set. Valerie, for me, her main purpose in a new player's account is to help you through Dune Tower. So a lot of people think like Valerie is some kind of, what's the correct term for that? Like Valerie is some kind of like quote unquote progression champ, but like a poor man's progression champ. You know, I would argue Broadmaw is stronger than Valerie in terms of progression because Broadmaw gets you all the way through Dragon's 20, right? So if you're going to focus on a progression champ, Broadmaw is better. But Valerie helps you in Doom Tower a lot because of the buff extension, because of the shield for Scarab King. Earlier in the game, it's kind of hard to make a Scarab King solo champ, so you're going to have to play through the shield part of Scarab King, and Valerie does it, right? 186 is a little bit slow for like the hard Doom Tower versions of Scarab King if you are going to use her there. It is possible to do that. It's just a little bit hard because you're going to need maybe a lure, right, to get it to work, because you're not going to keep that turn meter down too long without some kind of relentless type sets on somebody that can fully deplete turn meter and Armiger, So it's going to be a little bit tricky to get Valerie scale all the way up to hard Doom Tower for Scarab King anyway, but for normal Doom Tower, she can go all the way up to 120. So that's why I like Valerie a lot for new players, even as a level 50. So you're most likely going to do something like, in my F2P Trinity plan, right? So you're going to go your starter first, and then War Maiden, and then your third 6-star should be your carry champ, right? But the actual F2P Trinity is High Katoon. High Katoon can stay level 50 for as long as you want, right? So High Katoon is not a priority to 6-star. But the F2P Trinity does involve High Katoon because for progression and all that. That's a different topic altogether. And then, so Valerie can be level 50 and she can be perfectly viable for this. I don't know if you get the 4 key though with her as a 50. Maybe you can, because we got the 22 mil here. I think you can. A good upgrade here, once you've figured out Scarab King down the line, is to switch Valerie out to a Toxic set. So Valerie could be your Toxic set user, and that should push you to the 3 key. So once Valerie has Toxic set, I think that pushes you to the 3 key. Also, if you can figure out a way for Valerie to get some counterattack accessories, that'll also be really good. Can you actually give her counterattack masteries? I feel like that's not really a thing. Maybe deterrence, but I'm not quite sure, because you will be taking the stun with this particular version of slow Helicath. So I'm gonna call, what am I gonna call this? Slow Valicath? Yeah. I'm just gonna call that slow Valicath. I think that sounds better. Sounds better than Valicath. All right. So this gives you 3 damage champs, right? So damage champs are just champs that deal damage. So Kale, he's on Lifesteal set because he's a progression champ, So when you play the game, especially if you pick Kale as your starter, this is like an all-around build. He can be your farmer. He can be your boss killer for Dragons 20 for Ice Golem. He can be like in your Doom Tower comps, So it's like everything your starter will do. Your starter will fit in nicely here, even in Lifesteal set. Kale will do the most damage though of the starters. I think without a doubt, Kale will do the most damage of the starters. If you are going to use Kale, you need to get that accuracy over 250. So that is actually a big hurdle to breach. And I think the speed range for him is 175 to 178. Right? So this is a 1-to-1 ratio for everybody else. Only Helicath will be taking a double turn, right? So your 2 damage slots are going to be 175 to 178. And then a block debuff slot, which is going to be a damage slot for this particular build. I think it's 173 to 175, something like that. So War Maiden, same thing, right? So War Maiden is part of the F2P Trinity. The reason why is for AoE decreased death. Really, you just want the speeds to be correct for this particular version of the build. So if you want her to land her decreased defense and her poisons more accurately, you need to get 250 on this accuracy, right? So mine isn't at 250. That I could probably squeeze out a little bit more damage than probably get the 3 key with this particular build anyway. But these are kind of like end game pieces because I have revenge accessories and all that. So I can figure out a way probably to get her the 250 by swapping out this death banner because I don't need death on her anymore because we have unkillable online. So yeah, that could be the 250 accuracy right there. If you want to give her the 250 accuracy, get her an accuracy banner. And I like turning off the A2 for the clan boss runs because this A1 actually puts poison on. It's a 30% chance. It's not much, but it'll put the poisons on. And then for masteries, I would probably take kill streak off and give her sniper just to get that extra 5% chance to land those poisons. It's not a big deal, but every little bit helps when you're doing clan boss, right? Because it's like 50 turns is a lot of turns, So that's it for Valkyrie. And then your flex spot for this build is somebody like Coffin Smasher, right? Another good one that if you're a little bit later in the game, like you've already got Seal of the Drakes on, another good one for that spot will actually be Grush. I like Grush for that spot. Grush and Toxic Set, right? So Grush is somebody that can actually come into your regular clan boss teams if you happen to not get Helicath. Oh man, so sad, bro. If you didn't get Helicath, sorry about that. But Grush is actually a pretty decent clan boss champ. I mean, you get him like 8 months into the game. Is it 8 months into the game? I think it is 8 months into the game. So it's a little bit late, which is why I don't like featuring Grush in my content because 8 months is way too late for a clan boss champ. But we'll be featuring him in some builds I'll be doing with Riho and Kyoku. But those will be later down the line. So yeah, this spot just needs to be 173 speed, I think. 173 to 175. Although I don't think it'll matter as much if they all just do damage. I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me. I think that particular speed's range was selected because of the AoE block debuff, right? So who are the AoE block debuff champs that you can really, really work into here? Unfortunately, Spirit Host won't work, right? So the reason why Spirit Host won't work is because her AoE block debuff is on a 5-turn cooldown, unfortunately. So you need a 3-turn cooldown on your AoE block debuff. So is there kind of like a build, a weird little fast build that you can do with something like a Painkeeper or Helicath, going faster, and you can have this ready to stay affinity friendly? I think there might be some kind of build like that, right? I just don't think it's worth your time trying to figure it out because, like I said, this is like a brain dead build right here. You just follow the speeds and you plug in Valkyrie, War Maiden, and Kale, which you're gonna bring up anyway, and then the fifth champ could be literally anybody. Literally anybody that doesn't have any kind of turn meter stuff. So yeah, that's the only thing with Unkillable. You gotta understand that. You can't put anything that manipulates turn meter, right? I actually like avoiding Lore of Steel as well because it kind of messes with the true speed. But, you can put Lore of Steel on, of course. You put it all through the calculator. Or if you fall into the middle of that range on your on your printed excuse me, on your printed speed, it should be fine. So I think this was a really good Helicath build. So I'm going to say this is a 3-key. This is a 3-key team. You can definitely scale this up to 3-key with Toxic Set. You can put Toxic Set on as many of your quote-unquote damage people as you want. You can get another actual poisoner in there to do the damage. Kale's going to do a lot of damage. But, somebody like Frozen Banshee will do pretty good if you can get her to do some counterattacks. Grave Chill Killer. You can do the Frozen Banshee Grave Chill Killer combo. very strong for this particular Helicath build. So it doesn't need to be any particular champ to get your 3 key. To get the 2 key, the 2 key is different. The 2 key, you're going to need some actual clan boss superstars on your team, right? So it doesn't need to be legendaries, right? Geomancer would be good. Would be extremely good. Obviously, Under Priest Brogni is amazing. Anybody that deals a lot of damage to the clan boss and brings a lot of things to the party, like Fane would be very good here. Obviously, Draco Morph would be good. If you can get Ninja to work, so there is a Helicath Ninja build out there that I've seen. Obviously, that's going to do a lot of damage. That could go to 1 key territory. I think Ninja can take it to 1 key territory. There's like I've seen a lot of Helicath 1 key builds already. So I'm not here to flex. Oh man, I got the 1 key. I got the 2 key, bro. Bro, if you got Helicath at like 50 days, 60 days, 70 days, 90 days, 100 days, 6 months into the game, and you haven't broken Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss yet, you'd be so stoked to get the 4 key. I mean, for reals, you'd be like, I got the 4 key, bro. I got the 3 key, bro. A 3 or 4 key with Helicath, you're solved. You're done, right? With Clan Boss, in my particular opinion. Because the rewards are just so much better once you hit Ultra Nightmare. And spending those 3 or 4 keys every single day, perfectly worth it. And the other cool thing about that too is once you do get the 3 key, you can actually get Nightmare chests, an extra Nightmare chest. Even if you don't get the 1 key on Nightmare Clan Boss, you will be able to get the 1 key on Nightmare Clan Boss once you figure out how to get the 2 key. So the 2 key comp will most likely also get you a 1 key on Nightmare. So that would be ideal, right? Ideally, you would do a 2 key on Ultra Nightmare and then a 1 key on Nightmare and a 1 key on Brutal, the same team. If you spend 4 keys in a day, that's 6 Clan Boss chests in 1 day. That's amazing, right? That would be like the absolute best thing. And your Brutal comp doesn't even need to be Helicath. It could be like a regular Clan Boss team as your Brutal comp. Just get the 1 key. So, overall, I am a big fan of Helicath. I really, really, really like him. And I'm so glad that Raid played the event the way they did. The point requirement was pretty steep. It's like 4,000 something points. But because the champ chase was on 2x Ancients, oh man, almost everybody got Helicath, yo. I mean, I've seen horror stories where they missed one, what was that? Was it a goat? Lamibur. They missed 1 goat. Okay, well that's terrible. But for reals though, Helicath might be the GOAT fusion. That's crazy because we're like 2 years into the game. This year, the fusion events were looking bleak in terms of like a strong champ. And then they give us probably the GOAT fusion champ. It's got to be between Helicath, Under Priest Brogni, Demitha. They've got to be up there, right? So no matter how you rank Helicath, right, whether you need him or you didn't need him, I think it's such a good addition to the game. And this comp right here, this slow Valicath comp, I really like it. I really, really like it. And I hope that, I hope you guys copy this, right? If you don't have a Helicath build yet, if you don't have an AoE block debuff champ, right? I think this is the build to do. Okay? So, we'll see you guys next time. Hopefully you enjoyed that.